round 4 of Spec-5 World Tour's 17th season. It's at Mount Panorama, Bathurst, one of my favourite tracks and absolutely one of the greatest racetracks anywhere in the world. But what kind of racing will it provide for Spec-5 World Tour? That's what we're here to find out. This is a live broadcast on HJBC, but it is not a live race on HJBC. This racing action took place at the normal Spec-5 World Tour time on a Thursday night. HJBC technical difficulties mean we've pushed this live broadcast back to now Monday night, and so we're so glad to have you join us. And live timing actually synchronized with the pictures as well if you want to watch HJBC.live. Great to have all of our Spec-5 World Tour drivers also then able to watch along live at the racing that they did on Thursday night. So for this coverage, David Haynes here with Devin Peters, Michael Derby in the production. We look at the circumstances, the race and the weather. Devin Peters, the normal deal, 45 minutes of racing with a compulsory pit stop. And this track, it's longer than most sport.
And it's got more elevation. And it's not even on the prairies. And I would like to reassure the audience that just like the tape-delayed broadcasts of old, we are, I would say, we have not spoiled anything. To my knowledge, and we are only moderately uninformed about what we're watching, just like the real deal.
I am unspoiled and unsullied. I've gotten really good at avoiding spoilers for these because I've told everyone what I am is a commentator, what I am not is an actor. I simply could not feign surprise if I already knew the result. So I got to keep myself unsullied. My reaction to this racing, it's live to me, therefore it can be live to you. We're looking at João Hedler on his outlap because it's the normal qualifying format, 15 minutes, 4 flying laps. And with this being over 6 kilometers, over 4 miles of racetrack, it's going to take a little bit to get an outlap done and to get 4 flying laps in. And it's also going to be plenty of wear on the tyres in these conditions of a relatively warm track temperature.
Yeah, it's relatively cool in the air, but the track is uncomfortably warm. I feel like that's a natural state of Australia. But it should provide us with great conditions for the racing today. This track's always a handful, and it's always fun to watch people that are much better than me at driving cars go around it.
Did you know that the Australian summer is literally closer to the sun than the Northern Hemisphere summer? So
I did.
Yeah, the Earth's orbit, it varies between 147 and 153 million kilometers away from the sun. And when we're closer is when the southern hemisphere is tilted to be in summer, and our summer is like 15% extra summer. It's like a 2-for-1 combo pack. It's a 2-in-1 double whammy, and our summers are just genuinely built different.
If folks could see how sweaty David Haynes looks right now, they would be shocked. Chow's out here putting together a pretty good one for us, though.
Sure is. There's a decent complement of drivers tonight. We've had a really, really strong turnout, a lot of enthusiasm for Spec-5 World Tour this season. And I'm seeing 28 drivers for qualifying right now. João Hedler is one of them. Taking a look at this lap as he goes over Skyline. It's down through the S's where you want to give a kiss to the curbs, but not to the concrete, the dipper, where you really feel your stomach drop and know what you had for lunch at that point in time. Down into Forest Elbow again with concrete walls are super close, and then it opens up just a little bit. You got to look to your right and say hello to the winery, look to your left, say hello to the Bathurst Light Car Club, say hello to Kenny Habul's place, and wait till you get a little bit further down Conrod Straight, the fastest straight on the racetrack, descending down the mountain before you say g'day to Robbo's house on the left. That's where the old broken down double-decker bus is that gives you a great view of this flat-out flick into the massive braking zone of the chase.
It really is a wonderful thing going around here. And it's even better with a tour guide that's so intimately familiar with this place. If you folks go back and look closely, you can see David Haynes on at least 3 or 4 recent races at Bathurst. And you can see him standing in the crowd, all over Bathurst.
Yeah, I've done a couple of track walks around here, and I've averaged about, 1.5 beers a mile. So I think that's my economy rate, giving the calves a workout around here. Taking a look at Lincoln Fox's qualifying with 10 minutes left in this session. For Lincoln Fox, currently sitting third. So the last lap not showing on that graphic, but the car number of 43 in gold means Lincoln Fox is one of the gold supporters of Spec-5 World Tour, and season after season, the drivers in the community have stepped up to support the league to make everything that makes Spec-5 World Tour great possible. So that's the broadcast, that's all of the practice sessions, all of the hosting, and everything that goes into organising this league and their race control. All of that makes a great community, and the great community gives back. This is through the final corner. The National Motor Racing Museum is behind us, and the front straight is in front of us. Timing line is very early out of that final corner, and then you're on to your next lap. That was a 2:32.7 for Lincoln Fox as we go to attack Hell Corner and up the mountain. And let me tell you, it looks a little bit up the mountain in these pictures. It feels a lot up the mountain when your cooler's running empty and you're 2/3 of the way walking around the lap.
Yeah, Lincoln's hooking up some pretty nice ones here. The sector times are ticking off and looking good. It's been a racy season out at the front, and so we started on Zhao because he's put some quick ones together, and Lincoln right up there at the front as well. But I'm actually impressed to see Elvis Rankin up at the front. I think that's a new name for us.
Yeah, very much an MX-5 kind of specialist, and blowing the rest of them out of the water with 9,868 I rating is Elvis Rankin, wearing the Coanda VRS skin on the old MX-5. Working their way up towards the top of the mountain. Yeah, decent turnout of fans there over the hill. I wonder if any of them were here a week ago digging a hole, burying 100 beers in it, covering over before they then came back the next week to their campsite. That's our Spec-5 World Tour fans. They get rowdy for their favourites. I think Zhao Hedler is, at this point in time, currently at the top of qualifying, and we haven't seen a time from Elvis Rankin yet at this phase in qualifying. Definitely looked like we were only just starting to really attack it right now, and really attacking the walls and still trying to build some tyre temperature here is Elvis Rankin.
Yeah, interesting to see them weaving down the straights, even this early in the session, relatively speaking. Wouldn't have guessed that it was that cold of a tire situation.
Yeah, well, we had a peek at the track temperature, and it wasn't stone cold, but it's late in the evening, and there's not a whole lot of sun on the track. So yeah, it's good, and it's a long outlap to prepare the tires. So that much weaving is more than we'd typically expect, but I'm going to guess that Elvis Rankin knows how to prepare the tires. It's no time yet to Elvis Rankin. 19 drivers with a time. Zhao Hedler up the top from Michael Chase and Eugenio Pellicci. Twenty drivers with a time now, but Todd Martin's time is not super duper great. This is through the turn 2 where you really need to get the banking of the road to carry your speed through there, and it continues to be really sharply uphill towards the cutting for Elvis Rankin. So in a car like this, as much speed as you can carry through turn 2 gives you so much time in the following uphill. Keeping your momentum flowing uphill so critical.
I think that was Joe Hedler coming to the line. Just crossing there. And that looked like it was maybe a mild improvement at 2:31.9.
No. It was not. And at this stage in qualifying, Joe Hedler remains 7/10 ahead of Michael Chase. And Joe Hedler, I think, might be done for this qualifying session with 4 minutes left. Looking at currently second place, Michael Chase. I think this concrete wall is proving a challenge for some, because all 28 drivers have been out on track, but only 21 at this point in qualifying have a time left, with time ticking down very, very quickly. Joe Hedler's up top, but he's parked it. Michael Chase, as you see, is still on circuit, but with 7/10 of a second to find to try to take pole position away. Eugenio Polici in third has parked it. So for Michael Chase, this is going to need to be a really big lap. We've seen in this 4-lap qualifying format that Spec-5 World Tour has had for some time, that at the shorter tracks, the best lap times might come lap 3 or lap 4, but on the much longer tracks, Road America, here, etc., it begins to ask a little too much of the tyre at the 3rd or 4th lap. So late improvement becomes difficult. Elvis Rankin's just gone to the top, 231.8, and parked it and done. So Michael Chase, this is now down into third. Still 7/10 behind Joe Hedler, as Elvis Rankin pipped him by a 10th. Best of open class at the moment looks to be Lee Martin in 5th as well. So that's super when we think about the 2 divisions of Spec-5 World Tour, Pro and Open. A lot of these early races in the season, we've seen the top open class driver be in sort of 10th or 15th position, but that's looking like 5th at the moment for Lee Martin.
We got Logan Frey.
Oh, that's not going to be an improvement for Michael Chase doing that.
Yeah, that's not the fastest way to the line, though he was lucky to get across it. Lee Martin's hitting the line now. That'll be the final lap for him. Not an improvement. Down about a second on his best there before he parks it. And we're watching Michael Coates here coming down the mountain. Still a few cars out on track. Coates, one of the quicker ones that's still giving us laps. Opened with a 2:32.9. We'll see what he brings this time to the line.
So Michael Coates at the moment 21st, 4 seconds away from pole and a second away from moving up into 20th. So I think the previous laps have been a little on the scruffy side for Michael Coates, one of the drivers who was consistently challenging for race wins and even the championship last season as part of the Big Four: Coates, Fisher and Fox. Final corner, braking zone, downhill, straight ahead takes you into town, turning left keeps you on the racetrack, because this is public road. It's a road course most of the time, most of the year. Michael Coates jumps up into 4th, moves Michael Chase down into 5th. Lincoln Fox stays 3rd, and through a whole heap of the other times coming in, Lee Martin It's gone to 10th because Logan Frey is now the best qualified open class driver in 8th.
Yeah, it was a quick one from him. 2:33.1 puts him into that spot. And when you're on a big, long track like this, everything gets magnified and locked in at the end of qualifying there.
Yeah, big lap because your pole time is 2.5 minutes. And with the 2:31.8, Elvis Rankin steps into Spec-5 World Tour and steps to the front of the grid for what will be a 2-wide rolling start for Spec-5 World Tour. Means he shares that front row of the grid with Zhao Hedler, Lincoln Fox and Michael Coates are 3rd and 4th on the grid. Michael Chase and Rui Coimbra 5th and 6th. Coimbra sneaking in a good time late on in that session. So too John Miller and Zach Burke, who went to 7th and 8th. Ray Lombardi jumping up into 9th. With Logan Frey then ending up as your open class pole sitter in 10th. Gino Polici was up in the top 3 briefly, but couldn't match the rate of improvement that others were doing. And at the end of the session, he's 11th, with 2nd in open class Lee Martin, David Zucamo, Donnie Moffat, Sean Hayes, Paul Murgatroyd, Mitchell Peake, Peter Resorkis, Geordie Fike, and Mark Kruger are the top 20. And there's Brian Chabelski, Daniel Arthurzo, Todd Martin, Carl Genski, Jason Stalker, Travis Hewitt. Jake DeGrun's the last driver with a qualifying time. Josh Olsen was out there on track in qualifying and didn't set a time in the end. He either ran out of time or he ran out of space against the walls that dominate half of this racetrack and dominate this incredibly mountainous and challenging racetrack. Will be a short formation lap here from Mount Panorama as well, so we'll quickly get to the points standings. So with 3 rounds completed to this point, hey, you can see Robbo's lookout there. To the top left. I've been there. Oh, what a great place. That's where I was watching the top 10 shootout for the 2022 Bathurst 12 hour, and Chaz Mostert was behind coming into the final sector, and then he pulled like 5 tenths out in that braking zone. Blew my little mind in the Audi R8. Here we go. Zhao Hedler from David Tacamo. Between them, they took race 1 and race 2. Lincoln Fox won race 3, but Michael Folds 3rd in the points ahead of Lincoln Fox there. In the open points, it's been between Lee Martin and Logan Frey. Lee Martin with 150, Logan Frey 134, and Carl Genski 126. Ace car's about to pull in and send us 45 minutes of racing from Mount Panorama Circuit. They're formed up on the grid. Elvis Rankin, pole sitter, Michael Coates alongside him on the front row. Logan Frey, best qualified open class driver, just a couple of rows back. They're waiting on the green flag on the front straight. And we're going to go racing towards turn 1. Sun low in the sky, beautiful, but the track's cold, the tyres are cold, and the pole sitter Elvis Rankin leads us up through there as Lincoln Fox really makes a bit of contact with Zhao Hedler. Not a great run up the hill on the first time for Lincoln Fox, side by side with Michael Coates, who's going to look to get ahead, but it's the inside line that always reigns supreme up at turn 2.
They're 3 wide deeper in the field, and it's Dav DeCarmo who we're seeing on the outside and getting a little tangled up as they're heading into the corner there. Looking to me like David DeCarmo is a little out of position after that qualifying session, certainly relative to where we've seen him so far this season. Either way, he, Donnie Moffat, and Mitchell Peake are fighting a fight as they go around the cutting for the first time.
Well, it's very argy-bargy up the hill now. Donnie Moffat just ahead of David DeCarmo in the 13th and the 14th. It really gets single file for most of it over the top of the mountain, but don't tell these guys, apparently. Michael Coates successfully pulled that move off on Lincoln Fox. Rui Coimbra ahead of Michael Chase after that race start, but they're all over race leader Elvis Rankin as we go through McPhillamy Park over Skyline. You can't see where the racetrack goes. You just got to trust lap to lap that it's still there to catch you when you fall. Through the dipper, Zhao Hedler drops a tiny bit further back. Michael Coates is flying on this opening lap.
Joe Hedler was almost going through Elvis Rankin as they were going over Skyline for the first time, but on the way down the mountain, Elvis seems to have found a little bit of something, and he's put a pretty strong gap there together. That's almost a second and a half. We'll see if there's enough distance, not quite enough to break the draft here yet early on.
Timer in the top left is wrong, so there's only been 2 or so minutes to this point. Elvis Rankin leading Joe Hedler and Michael Coates at the end of the first lap. It's been a good start from Rankin, but what's always so critical to this MX-5 racing is how powerful the toe and the slipstream is. And if you can break it, that's good, but the higher the average speed around the racetrack, the longer the straights, the harder it is to break that toe. It's so difficult at places like Road America or Road Atlanta, and in fact here with Mountain Straight and Conrod Straight.
Checking in on the open field, Logan Fry has gained a spot up to 9th place, but behind him, there's been a little bit of chaos in the open class. Peter Rozakis, the next one, Mark Kruger in 19th, and Lee Martin dropping all the way back to 20th on the first lap. Always important to be safe around Panorama, but it can cost you if you're in the wrong spot.
Top 3 and even now top 5 still super close on lap 2.
Oh, they're wrecking at the cutting.
Let's have a look. Oh, there is a massive pile up there with Donnie Moffat and Eugenio Pellicci at the cutting. A whole bunch of other damaged cars there as well. Mitchell Peak's one of the drivers dropping back.
Yeah, judging
one of
by
the
pit lane.
few things that we can't do in this broadcasting format is bring you a replay, though. Apparently,
at the end of the race,
we'll think about it, maybe we can.
But it looked like Pellicci and Moffat got tied up heading into the cutting, and once they touch, there's not a lot of extra grip available at that point in the track, and certainly no runoff. So with that, we've got a pretty big gap now between 10th and 15th, to the tune of, give it 5 seconds there, maybe even 10. So our battle for the front of this race is going to be down to the guys who are left in our lead pack, and we got 3 of them nose to tail heading into the chase here. Joe Hedler in second, Elvis running first, and Michael Coates in third.
Only a 1/10 of a second between them in qualifying, Elvis Rankin and Joe Hedler, and there's about a 1/10 of a second between them on track right now in this racing. The rest of the field were not quite as close to Rankin and Hedler's qualifying prowess, but in racing conditions, doing a great job of staying with them. All the way through here is another way that slipstream will work so powerfully for you. Down the hill and then back up the hill again. See Elvis Rankin just leading them gently to the left-hand side of the racetrack. Might lead them gently back to the right-hand side if he feels he needs to. But it's a top 8 pack with Elvis Rankin, Joe Hedler, Michael Coates, Lincoln Fox, Rui Coimbra, Zach Burke, Michael Chase, and John Miller in the 8th. It seems like it's sort of around 9th, 10th place that we had that contact between Pellicci and Donnie Moffat, and that's what's opened up the big gap between the top 8 and the rest of the field. And Logan Frey, I think he'll be pretty happy to be running in 9th at the moment as an open class driver there. A bit of space has opened up between him and what you said, Lee Martin dropping back. Peter Rozakis is the next to challenge him in class in the 14th overall. So for Logan Frey right now, it looks like he's pulling Ray Lombardi along rather than the other way around.
Yeah, he's putting the pace, that's for sure at this point. But it's a long one, so we'll see. We'll see how that continues longer in the stint. Pretty good though, running position here from Peter Rozakis. Certainly in line to be early to call it, but his best finish of the season, if things hold.
Simply don't know why you would say that this early on. But there we go. He's at the tail end of this pack here. Paul Murgatroyd, Sean Hayes, Jason Stalker started 26th and runs 13th right now. So he's picked his way through all of that, 13 positions gained. And Peter Asorka started 19th, runs in the 14th outright. They run a bit wide through the elbow in front of him. So that probably helps Asorka stay with them. What you don't want to do is lose touch with everyone over the top of the mountain. And then you get to the massive straight down the hill here and not be in the tow. A move on here between Michael Chase and Rui Coimbra. Coimbra gives him a little bit of door on the way out of the chase. Top 5 pulling away.
That's Zach Burke. That's a Canadian fighting with Michael Chase there. John Miller taking the move or the opportunity though and jumps up the inside, makes a little bit of contact and slides it at the apex. Zach holds on. John Miller gets a bit of door there and it holds him up through the final corner. He's dropping back towards your open class leader here who's got all of the speed up to just pop in front. Look at how many spectators have come to the side of the racetrack as we've gone from qualifying to the race session. They're on the hill, they're in the infield, they're over the top of the mountain. Yes, some of them are on the scaffolding at Robbo's place. Ray Lombardi's looking to make the move around the outside here. Thinks better of it, though, before he gets to Corey Bend, and he'll leave the spot for John Miller. But I have a feeling that Pro Class battle isn't done just yet. Up at the front, they're still nose to tail. 1, 2, and 3 with Lincoln Fox and Rui Coimbra rounding out the top 5. Starting to make a little bit of a gap back to Michael Chase. And Zach Burke perhaps suffering from a little bit of door damage hanging off the back in 7th. And the Bathurst effect really showing its head here. It's we haven't seen really significant gaps between the battle packs so far this season in Spec-5, but with those couple incidents early on, there is really 2 kind of distinct groups lapping at this point, 15th through 20th and about 1st through 7th. So they all love to give just a little hello to the concrete wall in the Exeter Forest elbow. Didn't always used to be a concrete wall there. It used to just run down the hill, and that's where I think Dick Johnson hit a rock and ended his race. There's a fence now. Speeds in excess of 200 kilometers an hour for these little cars. Heading down Conrod Straight, Joe Hedler right in behind Elvis Rankin. Into this braking zone. Tidy from all of them over the curb this time through. Yeah, sure enough. And apparently the rock wasn't there due to natural causes, eh, Hayes? Depends who you ask. I think the anecdote is that there may have been some inebriated Australians around the scene, but, no one could say for sure. Inebriated Australians at Bathurst on the Bathurst 1000 weekend? Next you're gonna tell me there's gators in Florida. Next you're gonna tell me there's snow in Saskatchewan. That's there you go. Keeping an eye on the open. Next you're gonna tell me the Pope delivers sermons in the woods. Can't look away from this lead battle. Elvis Rankin all race has not had a lead of more than about 3 or 4 tenths of a second. Joe Hedler and then Michael Coates and Lincoln Fox, the rest of them are keeping him incredibly honest in this first stint of the race. Where do you think you prefer to be if you're running over the top of the hill? Second place, putting the pressure on, trying to make the guy ahead make a mistake, or, clear vision out at the front? I don't want to be right underneath someone's bumper heading through here and the dipper and that. No, I don't.
not exactly where you want to be. You want to give him a little bit more space over the top here and make sure you really get your Forest's elbow right and be right underneath their rear bumper heading down the straight, but not so much over the top of the hill. Starting to see maybe Zach Burke and some of the others get a little closer to this top six. Zach Burke's pushing on here, but John Miller has gotten back in front of open class leader Logan Frey here. But they're a little further away from the lead. Ray Lombardi still with that group, and it's all forming up around 11th. All forming up around 11th with Paul Murgatroyd leading Jason Stalker, who's found another position with Sean Hayes and Peter Rasolkas and Geordie Fike, and Lee Martin in this group can see second in open class once again as the Loud Cup Racing teammates look like they've gotten together at the front of this group, Paul Murgatroyd and Jason Stalker. When they make a Geelong Cats themed Loud Cup and bring down the cost of Australian shipping, then I'm on board.
They're pushing each other down the straights pretty effectively. So I think their prospects are looking up. Jason Stalker not content with running in 12th place, though. He's making a move to the inside here into turn number one, and that's going to be a team maneuver, I think. Stalker getting by easily on Paul Murgatroyd. I wonder if Paul's given up too much, though. Sean's got a bit of a run here.
Yeah, Sean Hayes looks like he's getting a little bit antsy, but I think you'll see some bumper-to-bumper speed boost. Oh, they're all forming together. This is insane speed up the mountain. Jason Stalker being pushed by Paul Murgatroyd, being pushed by Sean Hayes, I think being pushed by Peter Rasolkas, and did Geordie Fike also add his his receipt to that one as well? Certainly 3-4 cars combined bump drafting up the mountain with Jason Stalker now leading them and staring straight into the sun.
They are just, yeah. That was some really confident bump drafting. I don't know if I've ever seen anything like that.
Well, it gets the teammates together and lets Jason Stalker lead over the top of the hill. He's still got Paul Murgatroyd just behind him. Geordie Fike and Lee Martin have dropped a tiny bit of time as they came through the cutting, though. Seem to have closed it back up now over Skyline down here. I wonder if you or our director have ever been to Cincinnati and can tell us which Skyline is better. Dropping back. There. That's Fike dropping back. Has he hit the wall? He's got dramas. Geordie Fike has got dramas.
Yeah, he's driving like he might have just tapped something. That car certainly isn't pointing straight, and that'll be the second tragedy there for him. And sure enough, he pulls off into the dirt to make sure he's not in anyone's way.
Right. How much steering is that taking to keep going in a straight line? He's dropped out of his group. He's coming almost to a complete halt down the mountain, and the left side doesn't look so crash hot either. Don't know what's going on for Geordie Fike, but he is no longer part of that group. He's not part of the lead group. Top three, super close. Lincoln Fox, tiny bit further back. Rory Coimbra and Michael Chase. It's your top six. Zach Burke, I think, gave it his everything on the last lap to try to run with the leaders, but he was about a second a lap slower than pace setter Elvis Rankin here. So the gap between the top six and the rest widens.
Yeah, Zach's kind of in a no man's land running all alone, but all it takes is, a couple guys decide to start racing and you get hooked back up to that draft real quick. There is a lot of fuel to be saved around here, so Zhao might be feeling pretty good about that second place position. And honestly, with how close they all are, I think anyone second through sixth has got to be feeling pretty good about their fuel situation at this point. Michael gets it a little bit wrong coming down the hill that time. Costs him a bit of time, but not too much.
Sky's starting to look a little bit dark. No weather expected, but I think the track is cooling off and quickly, and it's just generally getting a bit dark out there.
Sure enough, our weather says 27 Celsius on the track.
Blows me away. There's a winery there, vineyard inside of the circuit. There's a massive pile up. It's 4 cars. It's 5 cars. That's the exit of the Dipper for Peter Resorkis and Jason Stalker. And Resorkis is missing half of the front of his car. You've got Brian Chabelski and Sean Hayes going slowly. So that's why I don't want to be right up underneath someone's bumper heading over the top of the mountain, because they've all piled in together at the exit of the Dipper, the sharpest corner as you're heading down the hill and descending down from the top of the mountain.
Yeah, I think that might have cost us Jason Stalker as well.
It ought to cost you, because why did you have to say what you said about Peter Resorkis earlier?
Oh, he stood so good. I just wanted to recognize the guy having a good race.
He was. And then you opened your mouth, Devin Peters. This is our top 6, lapping very similar to a lap ago. Incredible consistency here with, I think, 2 or 3 232.6s in a row for Elvis Rankin. Just bringing the whole group with him again. Zach Burke not able to match that. The rest of the field not able to match that. He's not leaving anyone in his group behind here, but he's leaving the rest of the field behind. He's trying to think of like a bridal wedding train type situation is kind of what he's got.
Yeah, or like 6 little shadows in a line behind him. Either way, they're sticking it real close together and staying close together, it must be said, even down the mountain. And at this kind of point, you almost wonder if Rankin's just thinking, I'll make these guys make a mistake by making them chase me, because he is putting together qualifying lap after qualifying lap. That is some impressive pace. I think Zach has honestly realized that he might just be better off driving safe, given the pace differential between him and the front guys and him and the guys behind. He's losing some to the front 6, but not losing hardly anything to the guys 8th and back.
Stryhedler almost gets to the rear bumper of Elvis Rankin as they go down into the chase. Didn't push him along, but got very, very close. He's missing just a couple of his CFPM Sampaio teammates. David DeCarmo was in one of the early incidents with Donnie Moffat. And those were just 2 that I think I saw. No, Daniel Artuzo is in the 15th outright, which is 5th in open class. So I think it's they got most of their complement of Sampaio guys. Of course, they lost Lincoln Fox from their team a couple of rounds ago. So
yeah, and Lincoln maybe looking to get a little bit of revenge. They're too wide going up the mountain for just a moment that time.
Yeah, don't know what Rankin was aiming for there. To what in Australian parlance they definitely call defending a bit of fresh air. But he remains ahead, drops just a little bit of pace on the previous lap into the 233s.
Probably some sort of like advanced cold spot that forms on that part of the track, you know.
Whoever owns the property on the inside of turn 2 has set up a little sort of motocross dirt bike track kind of thing. So maybe he was just saying g'day to them. It looks fun. Bit of property. Ripping on a 2-stroke. Just got to look out for, like, if you send it over a jump and there's a kangaroo in the landing spot.
That is a feature that we need to bug iRacing about. No kangaroo simulation. Ooh, they're weaving down the straight. I wonder if Rankin's starting to think pit stop.
Well, we're on lap 9, 8 completed, so perhaps approaching the fuel window, but it definitely seems early still. The full list of animals that have brought out a red flag or safety car at Mount Panorama is kangaroo, echidna, wombat, snake, bogan.
You forgot about the rock, but
I don't think that brought out a safety car. It's the 80s, man.
It sounds actually unsurprising. So 1st through 6th in a battle pack, Zach Burke running alone. 8th, 9th, 10th running pretty close together. Ray Lombardi trailing just a little bit behind John Miller and our open class leader, Logan Fry, who's running 9th overall.
Here comes a pit stop from Paul Murgatroyd. That car looks pretty clean, so good tactical. Peter Rasorkas pitted a lap ago, but we know the kind of damage he was carrying, and there's Jordy Fike with his apparent braking problems.
Yeah. Be interesting to see if tires is the way to go today. So far looking like just fuel for Paul. And sure enough, just fuel it is. But let's keep an eye on those guys up front, because we might be getting down to pit stop time here shortly.
I wonder how much of my timing I can trust when it tells me this is lap 10 with about 17 more to go. Theoretically, oh no, my brain hurts because I'm doing numbers in my head.
Yeah, that'd
be a 19 lap race, I think.
Math on air, man. Illegal.
This is Coates and Hedler getting real close again, and both of them crack the throttle. They're happy to stay, what is that, about 10 inches off Elvis Rankin's bumper, but they're not happy to hit it. So they both crack the throttle, stay as close as they can, following him.
Yeah, Rui was having to think about the pit lane, but didn't go. Did go a little bit wide on the exit, though. Got the rear tires spun up. And lost a little momentum, but luckily he's got a chance to make it up here at Hill Corner.
Another pit caller, it's Zach Burke from 7th. Couldn't quite match that pace of the top 6, and so he's going to try to do something about it. Qualified 8th, it means when you see those numbers on the garages, he's going for number 8, because he's got the 8th pit stall here. One is at pit exit, and then they go down towards pit entry, and there are 44 pit stalls. First lady, not particularly interested in Zach Burke's pit stop. Next guy, hands behind his back, hands by his side, not particularly interested in pit stop. Guy with the red shirt and shorts, super interested in Zach Burke's pit stop, which was about 18 seconds of fuel, and there's a whole host of other drivers pitting now as well. Daniel Arthurzo from Open Class, Sean Hayes and Brian Sabelski from Pro Class, and Mark Kruger from Open Class. A few of these guys would have picked up some damage in that pile-up, I think it's fair to call it, at the Dipper.
Yeah, and those that didn't lost some time because of it. Having to navigate those parked cars was a little bit extra challenge for them. We are seeing a few tires going onto those cars. A couple left sides, or a couple right sides rather, and that looks like left sides for one of the cars.
Yeah, Sean Hayes, long stop, 26 seconds. Maybe he went all four. Daniel Arthurzo is going to beat them all out of the lane, and Sean Hayes will be at the tail of that group. The top 12 haven't stopped yet. Zach Burke's the best placed driver who has, and then Paul Murgatroyd, and then Daniel Arthurzo. Jake DeGrand stops as well. This group, the leading top 6, have not. Elvis Rankin has led them every lap. Joe Hedler is going to go for the race lead. Okay, he doesn't crack the throttle this time. He's not going to stay at Elvis Rankin's rear bumper. Joe Hedler goes to the lead of the race, approaching the pit stop window, and he will not wait. They both run wide through the left-hander, over the grass at the right-hander, get plenty of curb to the left, and Hedler angles for pit entry. Rankin and Coates stay out. Fox and Coimbra are pitting in with Joe Hedler.
Interesting stuff. So half of our leading pack decides to hit the lane this time, and not the half I would have guessed.
No, you would have picked Rankin to pit and Hedler to stay out, probably. But that's not what's happening. So our top qualifying drivers have a long run down the lane to find their pit stalls at 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah, right side's the name of the game for these drivers as fuel also goes in.
And at 31 miles an hour, they crawl down that pit lane.
The real pit lane speed limit's slower than that, even. Hedler beats them all out of the lane, though, ahead of Rui Coimbra, who jumps a spot or two because Lincoln Fox is being held and may have sped on pit entry.
Those are some real quick pit stops, it must be said. 15 seconds each for Rui and Zhao. 17 seemed to be the theme for most of the rest of the field. So maybe that's where they're figuring they'll make their advantage, is just getting a little gap from Rankin by taking on a little less fuel. Lincoln's pulling away just. And with 56 seconds on the stop timer there, yeah, I think he might be right.
Kolgenski's getting out of the lane just in front of Lee Martin, which is second and third in the open class. Logan Frey's already pitted and is out ahead of them. And at speed, it's Paul Murgatroyd. Up Mountain Straight, he's just behind them. Elvis Rankin leads. Michael Coates, with all those other drivers who pulled in, I think he's not quite been in the slipstream for the first part of the lap here.
Yeah, I'd say Coates is just starting to tickle it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gained about 2/10 down the straight that time. And we'll see if he's able to suck it up even a little bit closer as they come past the pit lane one more time. Taker from the front.
Yeah, 3 cars haven't stopped. It's these two and Ray Lombardi, who we'll probably expect to see in as well. Elvis Rankin rocking the 05, a very famous number around this place. Peter Brock won the Bathurst 1000 several times with the number 05. Here's Ray Lombardi. Oh, there's Ray Lombardi. How much of that gravel can you take before it's an unsafe pit entry? Be my question. He also slows up well before the pit lane speed limit begins there. Better safe than sorry, perhaps. Elvis Rankin's going for right side tyres. Michael Coates doesn't look like he is. And the headlights
if you're going to pick a side around here, you'd figure it'd be the right sides. Rankin, though, make a good time on the exit. Joe Hedler slides wide on the exit of Hell corner over the curb, and he's going to have the momentum, but will he have the pace to get past both of them? He's going to get Michael Coates, but I think he's going to end up behind Rankin.
Yeah, Rankin's almost getting a toe off. Lap down Jake DeGrand up there as well. So with everyone having stopped, it's Elvis Rankin from Joe Hedler from Michael Coates. They've left a few of the other drivers behind. They've left Michael Chase behind. They've, of course, left Lincoln Fox behind. And the top three will get past Jake DeGrand on the way up to the cutting. Pit stop times pretty similar between all of these top three. Rankin's back to the top, but by pitting a different lap has not been able to overcut Joe Hedler in any way. And with the two of them magnetically connected, rear bumper to front bumper in the first stint, same again after the pit stops.
Yeah, good stuff from those two at the front of the field, and got to feel a little bit for Lincoln Fox kicking himself for that pit entry. Open class leader, meanwhile, feeling pretty good. Logan Frey holding on to 9th place, just nipping at the heels of Ray Lombardi and John Miller, who got the advantage through the pit stop. Lombardi on his out lap this time, and Frey hoping to get back up there. A little braver through the S's. Ooh, doesn't quite get it in to the camber on the inside of the dipper, though, and that'll cost him.
Hedler's going for the race lead again. And into the chase, it's very similar to before the pits. Just tidy enough through the rest of the lap. Massively powerful slipstream. Runs a bit wide, though, having got in front, completed the move now towards Murray's corner, the final corner of the lap. Joe Hedler comes across. And Elvis Rankin will just let him lead for the moment. 12 laps completed, about to be 13 laps completed. For what we expect to be an 18 or 19 lap race. Michael Coates and Rui Coimbra are going to need to work together and pick up their pace as well, because I think for Hedler and Rankin at this phase of the race, they are leaving it all on the table, running it wide through turn one as well. They're both really going full tilt right now.
Yeah, they're driving them like Miatas are meant to be driven, a little bit wild and a little bit over the curbs. They're pushing hard.
In fact, the last lap might have been the fastest lap of the race for Joe Hedler.
I believe it was,
yeah, in the toe. So he was flying, but I think Elvis Rankin has a tiny bit left in his pocket as well. Beautiful sunset over New South Wales Western Plains. You know it's a beautiful part of New South Wales because it's not Sydney.
I'll let you folks guess which major city David Haynes lives in Australia. It's the other one. Meanwhile...
No, Australia's like Canada. We've only got 2 cities.
Meanwhile, though, at the front, they are certainly starting to form a breakaways. 2 seconds now between Michael Coates and Rankin. And that gap is starting to grow. There's nice at the elbow there from Coates. But not enough. And 2 seconds definitely outside the draft.
Yeah, Michael Coates needs a big bump draft from Rui Coimbra, if I can get those words out, but that's not going to happen. So the combined pace of Hedler and Rankin, where Rankin gives a big shove to Hedler, is going to make it very difficult for these guys. They're battling it out for the podium now. Rui Coimbra around the outside, gets his nose ahead and sweeps through to 3rd position. Ray Lombardi has gotten ahead of John Miller. Logan Frey's back to 9th in the outright, having run a little higher than that. At times, already 2 wins on the season for Logan Frey, though. Here's Miller trying to strike back at Ray Lombardi and not willing to break as deep as Ray Lombardi will at the chase.
Yeah, Lombardi got the advantage on John on the way up the mountain last time by, I believe. And the podium spots in open class are going to be a bit of an exciting finish as well. You got to think Lee Martin and Kyle Genske are close to each other on track as we get into the latter stages of our race today. Those two have been close together for a good stretch here, and with the draft and the pressure of Paul behind, got to think they'll be fighting for everything. Speaking of Paul's pressure, Paul puts a move in on Lee going into hell corner there. Lee got it a little wrong in the braking zone, and Paul had enough. So that splits up second and third place in open.
Yeah, it does. So the open class podium as they run right now is Logan Frey, Lee Martin. Sorry, Logan Frey, Kyle Genske, and Lee Martin. Daniel Thurzo, Mark Kruger, and Travis Hewitt, 3 open class drivers, are the next pack behind. Hewitt pushing Kruger just a little bit. Elvis Rankin had been pushing Zhao Hedler, so it's definitely one of the tracks with enough places where you can get your bumper to your bumper, but the race leaders are going to get their door to their door. Hedler and Rankin side by side for this race lead. Lap 15 right now. Rankin just pulls his nose in front. Hedler knows exactly when to come across the lane and drop in behind.
Yeah, that was Hedler having a little issue on the exit of the elbow, had to lift just a smidgen, and Rankin took the advantage. And then I noticed when he got in front of him, just wiggled the car a little bit. I don't know if he was playing defensive or, shaking his bum at the guy behind after getting ahead.
They'll start lap 16. Coimbra and Coates got a little bit closer on this lap with all that went on between Rankin and Hedler, so you just never say never. We've seen some funny stuff happen between leaders in late laps. And you might think, I'm too far back to challenge, but they start racing side by side, they start blocking each other. Stuff can happen. It's not happening just yet because Hedler's pushing Rankin up towards turn 2. A little bit of bump drafting happening again. It's been a day for it.
We'll keep the camera on the leaders, but Lee Martin's doing everything he can to try to find his way around Paul Murgatroyd. Hasn't managed it yet, even though they were side by side at the chase last time.
Rankin a little wide through the cutting. Hedler had a good run. Again, he's all over him in a place where you can't really pass. 2 MX-5s locked together at Reed Park, Sulman Park. Metal Grate, named after the Metal Grate. And Philmy Park here, track drops away just as you turn in, just a little bit. And then you flow an incredible amount of speed there, straight over the hill at Brock's Skyline.
And Coates gets a little wrong through the S's again. Just being a little shallow at Skyline costs him a few tenths on the way down the hill.
I won't name the console arcade title that thinks it's a sim that has Bathurst and it's not laser scanned, and the track doesn't line up properly over Skyline there, and you turn in the correct amount and then you pop over the hill and the track's not where it should be, and you're like, no, don't like it at all. And that's why I don't play Forza anymore. I mean, whatever unnamed title.
Hey, come on, what happens if they ask us to commentate it one day, Haynes?
They can laser scan my face.
Lee Martin again struggling to get by Paul Murgatroyd. They were side by side going into Skyline, and Murgatroyd again put the block on him. That battle between Genske and Lee is starting to become a significant gap, nearly 2 seconds between them. And Logan Frey now starting to get a little feisty, leading open class, but looking for more points. He was side by side with John Miller going into the chase that time. It's getting spicy everywhere.
Top 4 coming back together. Elvis Rankin and Joe Hedler, 2 drivers that might need to save a tiny bit of fuel. Rory Coimbra and Michael Coates, perhaps less. And that's bringing them back into play now. It's gotten dark quite quickly, but that can happen in the mountains. Yeah, Rory Coimbra will definitely be back in the slipstream. Definitely still bringing Michael Chase with him. They go up through the cutting with Elvis Rankin leading us. You'll have to see if we can get a Barney the Flagman check this time by the line as well. This is lap 17 at the moment.
Yeah, he's not holding the flag this time, but we'll see next time. Another shout out deeper in the field, Daniel Artuso, Travis Ewert, and that's Mark Kruger just ahead of him now. They were 3 wide. This is for 14th through 16th place, and they're going to go 2 wide again. They have been all over each other and having a great time. Getting real close, touching a few times, but keeping it clean. The kind of quality racing you can expect through the field. Oh, and Artuso runs it wide. Pushes it just a little deep, and he's going to lose the spot to Brian Schabelski. Pro Class driver been hanging behind him, trying to stay out of trouble. Oh. Jake DeGron just had a moment at Skyline, giving Lincoln Fox a position back. Checking in on Lincoln, he's now running 10th after that incident in the pit lane.
It's underneath 1 second for your top 4 cars coming towards the end of round 4. Season 17 of Spec-5 World Tour from Mount Panorama. Out the final corner we go. Oh, yep, Barney's definitely got the white flag. So 6.2 kilometres more of racing at Australia's greatest circuit. Elvis Rankin leads now, but there are 2 long straights in a car that's known for its pack racing, its slipstreaming, and its unpredictability. We've had some amazing finishes at tracks like here, the Nordschleife, Daytona. You never say never. And that's why Elvis Rankin is all the way to driver's right-hand side, up against the white line, covering the inside for highly campered Griffin's Bend. Now he moves back across to the racing line as Rory Coimbra thinks about getting his nose into second place. He won't do it, and the order will remain unchanged up through Griffin's Bend and towards the cutting on the final lap.
Calm in the rest of the field, Haynes, but it's not out front.
No, this is living in a powder keg, and surely someone is going to give off a spark. Joe Hedler will know what his best opportunity is, and it's to be 2 car lengths back coming out of Forest Elbow. Elvis Rankin knows that too, and I think he's backing them up. I think he's backing them all up. He's hoping someone's going to have a chip at Joe Hedler, because being first out of the elbow is probably a weak position to be in. He's already trying to play some games. No. Oh no, Joe Hedler has gone wide through the dipper. He's hit the concrete and he is out of it. He's back in 4th with some damage. Elvis Rankin leads, and Rory Coimbra and Michael Coates had to check up. Are they close enough? They're 1.7 seconds behind. Elvis Rankin might have a get out of jail free card.
Yeah, and Zhao was just a little offline going through the S's. That action. Oh, and he's losing his bumper, losing his boot, going down the straight. Michael Chase is going to be right on him. Boy, oh boy.
Well, now it's just a battle for second, because they're not going to catch pole sitter Elvis Rankin. With that, I said you don't want to be that close right up underneath someone's rear bumper coming over the top of the mountain, and it proved disastrous for Joe Hedler. He lost his sight, he lost his mind, and Elvis Rankin will come away with a win. His first race with Spec-5 World Tour this season, and it looks like a whitewash with pole and the race win, but it was not that easy. Michael Coates pips Rory Coimbra there just at the end, and Michael Chase got through on Joe Hedler as well. Hedler wanted the win. The best he'll get is 5th.
Zach Burke coming to the line. He's going to lock sixth place up, and it's been a long, lonely road for him. Ray Lombardi, on the other hand, is going to have to make a move to defend John Miller, and they'll come to the line. Real close. But Ray is going to hold on to it. Logan Frey behind is going to take the win in open class, with Lincoln Fox on a recovery drive behind. Lee Martin and Kyle Genske have been going hard through the chase, and the two of them are going to stay in order unless something changes here at the final corner. And actually, Lee managing to get the overtake done on the final lap. I should take that back and get the spot from Genske coming in and stealing the final spot on the podium. And there's a little contact further behind. Mark Kruger and Travis Ewart for open class 4th and 5th, and that's Kruger's race done as they exited the chase. Daniel Artuso passing Ewart now into the final corner, and Brian Chabelski.
He's going to lose.
Oh no!
His hood for the second time. He didn't know which way to go, and he has drilled straight into Kruger. I told you weird things can happen on the final lap here, and in this racing, absolutely it has. Only 16 cars, I think, finishing on the lead lap after that, depending on maybe Rasakis and Kruger got to it in the end, and we can look at the results from a highly dramatic Spec-5 World Tour race from Mount Panorama Bathurst. Elvis Rankin took the win from Michael Coates and Rui Coimbra. Michael Chase, Shao Hedler pushed Elvis Rankin mentally and also literally this race, but just made a little error on the final lap that took away his ability and everyone else's ability to challenge Elvis Rankin the final half of this race on the final lap. Zach Burke, Ray Lombardi, John Miller, Logan Frey taking the open class win. Lincoln Fox with 10th. It was Lee Martin holding on for 11th against Kyle Genske. Daniel Artuso came through there for 13th. Travis Ewart 14th. Pardon me. Brian Chabelski, it's the Noodles. Brian Chabelski, Paul Murgatroyd, Mark Kruger, Peter Rasakis, Jake DeGrand, and Sean Hayes as the 20th. Pretty damaging race, because now you're looking at some cars that were lapped down and retirements, and pretty early retirements as well for Eugenio Pollicci, David DeCarmo, Donnie Moffat, Mitchell Peake, Geordie Fike, Todd Martin, Jason Stalker, and Josh Olsen. I can look at the results now. Yeah.
I was going to say a couple cars with impressive finishes there today, not just in terms of race pace, but also in terms of clean racing. Got to shout out Lincoln Fox for finishing despite the penalty with 0 incident points, and continuing his streak at the top of the clean driving sheets is Brian Chabelski with 0 incidents as well, meaning that in total this season he's only got 3 incident points. So impressive stuff from him, and Lincoln on that front. And as the points shake out, a strong finish from Logan Frey is going to move him up into second place in the points, closing the gap to Lee Martin and putting the gap on Kyle Genske in open.
Getting to our winners' interviews shortly. Just taking a look at some race replays before we do. Thank you for helping us with the mowing on the outside of turn 1, fellas, but the kangaroos normally do it. So you're taking away jobs from hardworking Aussie animals, and this is the checkup. So I think Pollicci checks up behind Ray Lombardi, and then there's contact into the rear of Eugenio Pollicci, spins him around a couple, collect that. Ooh, I think Pollicci on board or something, and then on the exit is where Mitchell Peake ends up into the wall. Looking at David DeCarmo now. Oh, is he a bit fast down the hill? He's a bit fast down the hill. He's knocked the suspension out of it. The Dipper getting a couple of them. So there's where, and then rolling backwards with Peter Rasakis. blocks blocks a lot of the racetrack.
Just seeing it from this angle. Oh, and trying to take evasive action ends up in the wall.
Jabelski and Sean Hayes were some that slowed down a little more for that and managed to sneak their way through. Let's see if our race winners are standing by. One would hope so.
They've had a lot of warning.
One would be wrong. They were here earlier. What happened? This is a nasty troll. Maybe we weren't ever going to get Elvis Rankin, but surely Logan Frey could come say good day. Well, apparently not. Well, yeah, that'll be that from Spec-5 World Tour. We had the schedule graphic loaded to go in previous times. See if we can exit with that. But it's been, I think, a pretty solid season 17 of Spec-5 World Tour to this point.
Yeah, next up we got Belle Isle, Coda, Phoenix Raceway, and Autodromo Jose Carlos Pace.
I've been led to believe it might be pronounced like Pache or something, but again, what we've learnt this season is our Portuguese is no good. João Hedler's is a little bit better. The first 4 races have been thrilling. We've come away with 4 different winners from 4 races, and there's a chance that continues when we'll bring you Spec-5 World Tour live on Thursday night here on HJBC. Thank you so much to the league organisers that make it all possible, and we look forward to heading to Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle this week for round 5. We'll see you there.